Hello everyone. This week and for the next 4 weeks we're going to focus on Backfist. So I'm going to call this mini-series How to Backfist Like a Bushi. And Bushi is the Okinawan word for warrior. Now the interesting thing about the word Bushi is that it wasn't just given to anyone. So if you think about famous Bushi like Matsumura, he was considered the Bushi not because he'd mastered the physical aspects of martial arts, but also because he'd mastered the spiritual and the mental. And so a Bushi wasn't just a fighter, it was somebody who had attained a high level in all aspects of their martial study. So that's exactly what I want to try and do for the next 4 weeks. We're going to look at our defences using Uraken or Backfist. Now for our green belt syllabus we have 4 of these techniques. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the science behind each one. Specifically the science of momentum and the science of kinetic energy. So this week we're going to focus on linear momentum. Now, as a little bit of a back story to momentum, if you don't understand what momentum is, from a physics point of view, momentum is mass times velocity. So obviously our body has a fixed amount of mass, so I want to be able to utilise as much of that as possible. And velocity is another word for speed, but it's speed with direction. So momentum, direction does matter. So that's what linear momentum is on a really simple level, and we're going to sort of unpick that a little bit. So, first technique. Right. So our first technique is a build on from a technique that's in our yellow belt syllabus. So what we have is just a basic Junzuki punch to the tummy. Now the movement is that we come out, get ambarai, but covering, rather than just this in case that second punch comes through Yakuzuki, which I need to be prepared for. So I have 1, and then the basic way is that we roll aside, and then Uraken into the side of the jaw or the temple. When we build this up into green belt, we add a little bit extra. So the technique is this. So we come out, get ambarai, Uraken, punch, hit, knee, and then break the arm. So when we do the first bit, the idea is that we are just avoiding. So as this punch comes to the tummy, I'm just getting out of the way with the body. When you do this first bit, it's really important that I don't go backwards. So as this punch comes, if I come here, I'm giving him enough space for him to come in with a kick. So to avoid that, I take a slightly shallower angle here and cover. As I've already said, if I don't cover, that's okay if I'm going to punch straight away. But if I plan on rolling, I want to have this hand ready to then aside and then come in with my Uraken. Now, when we follow this up, we then go for a little bit more speed. So we come straight through into the punch, roll and hit to the side of the neck, knee either to the stomach, the face, or the leg, depending on personal preference, and drop away, and I've got the arm. Now I can also roll into Yushiro Udigarami or backhand lock. Okay? One more time. From here, break. You can obviously take the jaw as well. So that's our basic technique. So let's have a look at the momentum side of it. Now in this technique, I'm trying to create power with the whole of my arm. Now when I think of my arm like a sledgehammer, so I'm not doing this as the punch comes. I'm doing a fast Uraken off the side of the head. My goal is not to be very light and very quick. My goal in this technique is to hit and be solid. So when I'm trying to create linear momentum, the thing that matters most is my mass. Even though mass and speed or mass and velocity are equal in momentum, if I want to create a lot of linear momentum, the thing that it's usually harder for me to do is to use my whole body as one unit and have a high mass into my strike. So this technique, as we do the first stage, relies on my body stepping through and hitting all in one unit. So my body comes down and drops, and there is a consolidation in my core. So everything tightens as we hit. I can do it from here, that as I aside, then I pull my hip back the other way if I want to do it more as a punch. But for the Uraken, we want to try and roll. Okay? When I do the next move from there, so I've done my Uraken, I can do it here, or I can step. I then can open my hip up and follow through with the punch. That then lets me circle the arm, hit again, knee, come into the backhammer and break. I can obviously take this arm, take the jaw, When you're in Yushiro Udigarame, make sure that your hand is pointing downwards. Don't rest it onto the shoulder. Imagine it's like in my pocket. My hip has to be in front of his shoulder. Because from here, if he tries to stand up, because of the position of my arm, I've got a lot of mechanical strength. If I move my hip and he tries to stand up, he's going to take me and that's bad. So from here, as the punch comes, 1, 2, open, knee, get in front of your opponent, get the face, across the knee, and then I've got my back hammer. Obviously, from there, there's nothing wrong with carrying on and doing all of your normal techniques and everything else. So for this first technique, when we look at Uraken, we're focusing on the linear momentum driving in. As a basic, if I don't put the final finishing strike on, you also want the foot so that I'm taking my opponent's balance and I've got him nice and close so I can disrupt him. So that's our first technique using Uraken, focusing on linear momentum. So try to get the whole body to work as one with the hips, with the hand. Next week we're going to focus on how to use Uraken for kinetic energy. See you next week, guys.